Hey besties, welcome back to the channel. Today, things just took a turn because we finally got a glimpse of what may be hiding inside those sealed text messages between Blake Lively and Taylor Swift, thanks to newly unsealed court documents. And what they reveal about Taylor's involvement, it's way more than what she's claimed publicly. Yes, Taylor Swift was in the penthouse the night Ryan Reynolds allegedly blew up at Justin Baldoni. This detail has never been disclosed before, and it gets even wilder from here. So, let's get into it. For months now, Taylor Swift, through her PR, has tried to distance herself from everything happening between Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni, and the meltdown surrounding It Ends With Us. Her rep even put out statements insisting that she wasn't involved in casting, she didn't weigh in on the script, she wasn't around for production conversations, she was only at the penthouse to support a friend. No creative input, no behind-the-scenes influence, nothing. And hey, if that were true, fine. But now we have documentation that paints a very different picture, which also explains why she reportedly avoided process servers trying to subpoena her for a deposition a few months back. Today's filings, connected to motions about alleged evidence destruction between Stephanie Jones, Wayfarer, and Blake Lively, included a detailed timeline created by Justin Baldoni and his lawyers. It's essentially a diary of what the Wayfarer team says they endured during production. This timeline is now public, and it completely undercuts the PR narrative. Let's walk through it. The wait comment incident. According to the timeline, sometime between April 21, 24, 2023, Justin had a phone call with Blake's trainer. He asked about Blake's weight, something he says was strictly related to a scene where he needed to lift her. He has herniated discs, Blake is 5'10", and he says he needed the information to train safely. Then, on April 25th, Justin went to Blake and Ryan's penthouse, and Ryan allegedly unloaded on him, told him it was fat-shaming, accused him of targeting her appearance. Justin was humiliated, apologized, and, according to the document, even teared up. But the real bomb? Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman were in the penthouse and witnessed the whole thing. Let's pause. Taylor publicly claimed she was not around for any filming-related disputes, that she only visited once, felt ambushed, and immediately removed herself. Except, now we know she was there multiple times. She witnessed one of the most explosive confrontations in the entire production and never disclosed it. So yes, Taylor absolutely knew these people, these conversations, and this tension. Early red flags before filming. The timeline also shows that before filming even began, female producer Alex Sachs warned Blake that her constant script revisions and attempts to put herself in a de facto director role were derailing production. Meanwhile, Justin had offered condolences about Blake's father's passing, which Blake later listed as an inappropriate comment during HR discussions, even though it was simply sympathy. Then comes May 2023. Production was planning the Vegas shoot for May 8th. On May 7th, Blake reported that her baby was sick, so the production shut down the entire shoot until the 15th. But guess what appears on the timeline? Blake was seen with Taylor Swift at Taylor's concert on May 13th. Production lost hundreds of thousands of dollars that week. Meanwhile, Blake was at a concert. The infamous wardrobe backlash. Remember when paparazzi shots leaked and fans were furious about Lily's outdated or frumpy wardrobe? That's when Blake told Justin that Taylor Swift apparently said, "Fans don't know what they want until you give it to them." She used this to defend the wardrobe choices that fans were openly rejecting online. The problem, that quote, popularized by Steve Jobs, is about innovation and technology, not art, not fashion, and definitely not ignoring fan feedback. Yet, she used it as a blanket dismissal of criticism, as if fans lacked the ability to know their own preferences. The timeline also reveals that Justin teared up after Blake complimented him that day, which Blake later spun into an allegation that he was sobbing over her looking old. What this all means? Taken together, the Unsealed timeline suggests Taylor Swift was deeply present, far more than her PR statements admitted. She witnessed confrontations that have become key claims in Blake's case. Blake may have leaned on Taylor's advice to justify decisions fans hated. Blake repeatedly reframed neutral or kind moments as inappropriate behavior. And Wayfarer believes Blake is now trying to mark benign texts and documents as confidential to obscure those contradictions. Blake's actions, the shifting narratives, and the attempt to retroactively label neutral communications as harassment, it all adds up to a very different picture than the one their PR team is painting publicly.
Honestly, to me, this entire thing shows just how elite and out of touch both Blake and Taylor seem to be, if that quote is real. And if Blake is twisting something Taylor said just to justify an unflattering wardrobe, that's even more bizarre. Now look, marketing is about selling people something they didn't know they needed. That part's normal. But with Taylor Swift, this hits differently. Especially because over the last several months, people have been calling her out for releasing endless album variants, limited window exclusives, and constantly pushing more and more products at her fans. Fans have said they feel financially drained, like everything is just another cash grab. And Taylor keeps insisting she's doing all this because fans want it. She says she listens to their feedback. But that quote, "Fans don't know what they want until you give it to them," contradicts her entire PR narrative. It suggests she doesn't listen because she believes she knows better than her own audience. So now you have to wonder, does she genuinely care about fans? Or is she just confident that she can sell anything and they'll buy? It reframes the whole conversation around why certain text messages in this case may be getting buried. And the timeline only gets messier. The London walkout. During the first phase of filming, before the major strike hit, the timeline says Blake left production and flew to London to be with Ryan while he was filming Deadpool and Wolverine. Filming for It Ends With Us was still active, and they needed her back. But according to the document, Blake refused. She allegedly told the team, "You can sue me if I don't return, but I won't be happy if you sue." That is a wild power move, and it shows exactly who held leverage. Production continued for 2 weeks without Blake. She stayed in London the entire time. And it seems like this was the turning point, the moment Blake decided she wasn't coming back unless she got full control. From that point on, Ryan is in her ear, reinforcing that Justin is some kind of predator. And Blake reportedly begins pushing harder and harder to sideline him. That's when the infamous 17-point agreement was created, giving Blake unprecedented control over editing, approvals, final cut, rights, trailer decisions, and distribution sign-offs. She essentially took the wheel of the entire project, and the moment she secured that control, her relationship with Justin was over. The trailer and Taylor Swift power move. According to the timeline, Blake wanted to edit the film herself, privately, and refused to be in the editing bay with Justin. She then gradually removed him from decisions altogether. Meanwhile, Ryan's company Maximum Effort began showing up at screenings of Justin's cut of the film, even though they had no involvement in production. It's like she was bringing in her power network to apply pressure. Then on May 2nd, Blake refused to approve the trailer. The team also wanted to use a Taylor Swift song. Blake allegedly threatened to call Taylor and block the request. Basically, if you don't do what I want, I'll make sure you lose the song. Maybe Taylor had nothing to do with it, but Blake weaponizing access to power? Absolutely. The Colleen Hoover shift. What's even crazier is that Blake had almost no relationship with Colleen Hoover until late May, after the screening of Blake's preferred cut. Prior to that, Justin was the one who worked with Colleen for 5 years. But once Blake needed support for her version of the film, suddenly, Colleen becomes close with Blake, Colleen turns on Justin, Colleen starts echoing Blake's narrative, and Blake brings in big-name friends to impress her. Blake even pays for Brandon and Isabella to attend Book Bonanza without telling Sony. It's a strategic charm offensive. Justin had previously told Colleen about the sexy comment that upset Blake, and Colleen was reportedly empathetic at the time. But once Blake and Ryan spun the story differently, Colleen flips completely. By the time Blake is hosting screenings attended by Bradley Cooper, Ryan Reynolds, Sean Levy, and Gigi Hadid, the power imbalance is obvious. Blake surrounds herself with Hollywood elites, and Colleen, wanting influence and access, sides with Blake. The result? Colleen refuses to work with Justin unless Blake's cut is the one released. And Blake even allows Colleen into the edit bay to give notes and shape the film, something she would never allow Justin. The domino effect continues. Alex Sachs suddenly won't speak to Justin either. Loyalty shifts everywhere. The final power consolidation. Then Blake fires the editor, Ona, who reportedly breaks down in tears. After Book Bonanza, Sony exec Josh speaks with Blake, and she tells him, Justin should still do press, she'll take a photo with him at the premiere, but she will not do any press with him. And only her inner circle knows the full story. The younger cast is clueless. She has isolated the cast, the producers, the author, and even the editor, all while using her celebrity network to solidify control of the film. This timeline makes one thing crystal clear. Blake Lively didn't just disagree with Justin Baldoni, she systematically removed him from every creative, professional, and social area of the project, and used her power, connections, and influence to ensure her version of the story dominated.
Then why did everyone suddenly turn against Baldoni? According to this timeline, Blake wasn't just pushing him out creatively, she was systematically removing anyone connected to his version of the film. She fired the composer, she demanded the PGA credit, and when they refused to give it to her, she reportedly said, "Any goodwill I had left for you is now gone." They tried to get her on a call to talk it through, she refused. There was also drama over a coffee table book tied to the movie. Blake was furious because her image was being used without her consent. Then Colleen Hoover became upset too. She claimed she didn't realize that none of the cast was being included in the book at all. Blake even blocked an interview opportunity Justin had lined up with Roger Ebert's team. She didn't want him getting that spotlight because, according to the notes, he didn't do the work. She wanted the credit. She wanted the prestige. And if that meant sabotaging his press opportunities, she was willing to do it. So when you zoom out, what this new timeline shows is a pattern. Blake telling each person exactly what they wanted to hear so they'd align with her, promising influence, promising access, promising roles, and behind the scenes, interfering with Baldoni's ability to market the film because she didn't want the public to see it as his movie. She wanted the narrative shifted, so she was the visionary. And then comes the big justification, painting him as a sexual predator. According to the documents, Ryan even called attorney Danny Greenberg and said Justin Baldoni was a deranged predator, while also insisting that they wanted no involvement with him after August 9th. He allegedly told Greenberg that none of the cast or Colleen Hoover wanted Baldoni at the premiere and even questioned why Justin was planning to attend. At that point, Justin and Heath backed out of going entirely. The studio later had to arrange separate premieres. Blake also refused to walk the red carpet with him. What's new in these notes is that while Blake was fighting over edits, she not only wanted producing credit, she wanted the director credit too. That hasn't been discussed publicly before, but of course it tracks. If she could edge him out of the edit, the press, the premiere, then removing him as director was the final step. No director at the premiere means no director front and center in the headlines. She wanted the accolades for both roles. There's also a zinger section outlining past behavior. For example, Blake's previous film, The Rhythm section, reportedly had similar issues, on-set conflict, and speculation she took over the production. When that movie bombed, she blamed the director, Reed Morano. Reed hasn't had many major directing opportunities since. Another example, Kate Vorhoff, someone Blake personally brought into her company B for Effort, also had a bad fallout with her. They no longer associate. Multiple crew members were fired during It Ends With Us, and overall, this timeline paints the entire production as chaos. And yes, conflicts on film sets happen. Creative disagreements are normal. Egos get bruised. People want more control. That's part of filmmaking. What isn't normal is using mega celebrity influence to manipulate the situation. Inviting Hollywood powerhouses, Bradley Cooper, Ryan Reynolds, Sean Levy, Gigi Hadid to screenings, whining and dining cast members, offering career opportunities, positioning herself as the gatekeeper to elite Hollywood circles. And then, the weaponization of Taylor Swift. Taylor wasn't just a random friend on the sidelines. She was physically present for at least one major confrontation. She witnessed Ryan yelling. And despite public claims that she was only there to meet a producer, she reportedly gave Blake advice like, "People don't know what they want until you show them." That mindset feeds into Blake's push for control. This also explains why Taylor avoided being deposed and why Blake fought so hard to hide their texts. There may be more involvement, more influence, more conversations that contradict the PR narrative. Blake skipped filming to hang out with Taylor. Right after filming wrapped, she flew to the Super Bowl with Taylor. And literally the day she came back home, she demanded director and editor control. The timing is interesting. So what do you think? Are you ready to see the rest of these messages when they drop? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you made it this far, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the bell so you never miss the next update. Thanks for watching, besties.